Here we're going to look at Windows processes, threads, handles, and the registry. Let's start with inside our Win client and go to Toolbox. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to start the TCP UDP endpoint viewer. So you'll want to log into your Win client or Windows client machine as administrator and send the CyberOps password and go to Toolbox. We'll go to sys internals and tcpview.exe. Click on it. And then these are all the currently running processes or active processes. At this point, we just have Windows processes running. Let's click on the LSAS process. And if we open it up, we can see the path where that's stored or where that is. It's a Windows System 32 process. So if we see it somewhere else, we might be concerned because this is where it's supposed to be. That may indicate, if we see that process running, that may indicate some sort of malware if we see it running somewhere else. We'll just go ahead and click OK. Let's explore our own processes or creating a process. Let's open up, what do we want to do? So let's open Firefox. Whoops. And then we see the Firefox processes start. You notice those were in green. And then if we go ahead and close it, we see the processes close down, and they end up closing down in red, which is just kind of something to pay attention to. So you can go ahead and open a browser on your own host computer and go ahead and look at different processes. Explore some of the processes that are listed in here. See if you understand them, see what they're used for, just to get an idea of how they work. Let's keep working on processes, but we're going to use a little bit different program. We're going to use the Process Explorer. So we're going to close this one up, and let's go stay in our sys internals and go up to PROCEP. There we go. We want to open PROCEXP, or Process Explorer. Just double click on that. And it'll list all the currently active processes, just a little bit differently. And let's open Firefox again. Now, what we noticed with the TCP view is that when we open that process, right, it came up on the top in green when it started, and then when we closed it. To find a process here, we want to come up here, and then we'll drag this down to the process or the program that's running, the application that's running. If we drag the Find Windows process over to the window, then it brings us to that Firefox, in this case Firefox process or whatever process it is we're looking at. Now let's go ahead and see what happens if we right-click on the process and scroll down to Kill Process. Click OK, and you'll see Firefox gets closed. That process is associated with that application, or is the application running. So let's go ahead and start another one. We're going to start the command prompt. I'll just go down there and say CMD, and that should come up. And again, let's find our command prompt in this process list here by dragging this over our command prompt. Also notice then too, when we open the command prompt, it has a child process or a sub-process called conhost.exe. The conhost process is a child process to the cmd.exe process. Now if we ping, let's ping our default gateway from this machine. So we ping 192.168.0.1, and then we go back to our window, and we notice that another child process called ping.exe is created. Now our ping automatically ended because I didn't do it perpetually, so it does it the 4 times and then stops. If we do it again, we can just see it again. And you can see that the sub-process is then created. And then when it's done, it stops by itself in this case. So if we right-click our cmd.exe and we click click kill process, what's going to happen to the child process. Click OK, and you'll notice both the parent and the child. So if the parent process is killed, the child process is as well. So now let's look at threads and handles. We're going to stay in our Process Explorer window. We're going to open our command prompt that we just closed. We're going to open that again. And then we're going to bring up we're going to look at our conhost.exe. So if we right click on it and we go down to Properties and click the Threads tab, it's already clicked, we can view the active threads for the conhost process. So we just kind of look at kind of some of the things that we get from this thread or that we can learn. We can learn things about the environment variables, security, and other information. Our thread ID is here. And we'll just click OK and get out of here. We can just kind of see, we can double click and we can get in the stack for a particular thread number. You can do a pretty deep dive into the things that are happening in the operating system. And we'll go ahead and close that up. And let's go ahead and look at our handles. So we'll go to View. Oh, we are showing, I knew that because I already had it up. Show lower pane. And then we want to make sure we're looking at handles. So let's view, lower pane view should be handles, and it is. So down here now we're seeing the handles associated to this conhost.exe. And remember, the handles are just a reference to a memory block. Our handles, let's make that bigger. So they're a reference to a memory block or an object running in the operating system. And they're going to give us more information, or what they're pointing to are the registries, the registry keys, and the threads. So then if we go down, we see the process cmd.exe, we see the thread conhost.exe that it's pointing to, and we come down in here and we're going to look at the registry. We're going to explore actually the registry next, but these are the different registry keys that it points to, that the handle points to. So let's go ahead and then let's start looking at the Windows registry. So we're going to close this up, and if we want to get to Windows registry, we're going to click Search Windows, and we're going to type regedit, and then click it. There we go. Sorry, I closed my other window real quick. And now we can see the registry editor here. So the registry editor has 5 hives. The registry is just basically a database, or it is, I shouldn't say basically, is a database that stores user, hardware, application, and system settings. So I think in a later lab, we're going to look at what the registry looks like, or a section of the registry, say when you agree to an end user license agreement. So we start a program up and it says, do you agree with this license? You click I agree, and you click OK, or whatever the program has you do. That's going to be stored in here in the registry, and we're going to modify the registry to actually make it look like we never accepted it, and then see what happens. But that information is what's stored in this registry database. So we have the H key. I don't know if that's the class's root is the class's subkey of the H key local machine software. It stores information used by registered applications. The current user stores information about the currently logged in user. H key users stores information, settings and configurations for all the users on the local computer. Local machine stores the configuration specific to this machine. And current config then stores hardware information that's used at boot up by this computer. So these are our different, we can expand them and look at different things that are in here. So let's go down further and let's go ahead and look at what happens, or explore that, we've agreed to a license thing that I just talked about. So previously we said OK to the Process Explorer license when it came up. We accepted the license. So if we go ahead and we click Process Explorer in the current user, so if we go into our current user, and we go to Software, find our sysinternal software, and then we want to find Process Explorer. Oh, let's see if I can, like that, there we go, okay. And we want to go down, we want to find the EULA accepted. Oh, well, I got to click on Process Explorer first, not just expand it. And then we go down and we find where we accepted the license. And what we notice here, right here, this is a 1. That indicates that we've accepted the license. We see this 1 right here. And it can be a 1 or a 0. 0 means I didn't accept the license. 1 means I did accept the license. So let's double click that and let's change that value. So the value can be a 1 or a 0, right? Let's change that to 0 and then click OK. 0 means I didn't accept the license. So if we click OK, and now we've changed it, was the EULA accepted? The 0 indicates that it wasn't. Now if you go back, right, so go through here. So now this says we didn't accept it. So if we go back to our toolbox and we open it again, we open it again. What do you think is going to happen? Right, now we're going to have to accept that license or that EULA again. So that's just something interesting. So we've explored, we've looked at processes and threads and handles, and then we looked at the registry, so maybe something you didn't know. We click agree, right? Now, now if we double, it didn't show up right away, but if we double click on it now, it's just a refresh thing. If we double click on it now, we see the value is 1, which indicates that we accepted it. And when I close that, it also changes to 1. So there we go. We have explored the things we wanted to explore for this part.